about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.
Hi, we are Rudy and Jackie, and in 2011, we became the Gills. From the beginning, we decided to make traveling before kids a priority in our lives.
Since then, we've added 2 girls to our crew. This is Gemma, our oldest daughter, born in 2017, and our newest addition, Pippa.
Even though travel looks a little bit different these days, we are excited to share our adventures with you, both near and far.
Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Somehow we can.
Our first stop was lunch at the Gulf, a familiar place with a great beach vibe, and Gemma immediately found a little friend. It was such an awkward situation trying to find the kids' parents and figure out how comfortable they were or were not with another kid around their kid. Thankfully, these parents were cool and Gemma had a blast playing with another kid for the first time in 2 months. We made it to our hotel and immediately got into our suits and the party got started. Gemma had no issues jumping right into the pool's limbo contest. At the time, it didn't really strike me as strange. But man, these people were all super close for COVID. Am I right?
She doesn't even have to lean back yet. Alright, here's where it gets low. Man, this dude's tall too, and he's still going. Alright, here we go.
Vamos a la playa.
In April of 2020, we were supposed to be headed with Rudy's parents to our annual anniversary trip to the Dominican Republic, but just like everything else, it was canceled. The trip to Destin was definitely a consolation trip, but by this point, we were all just happy to be headed anywhere that wasn't our house. As we traveled to Florida, we were pretty anxious at first because at the time, there were no mask mandates in place. We had many discussions about how we would remain masked at all times despite the laws being different. Having breakfast in the room and lunches and snacks packed for the whole day is perfectly normal beach behavior for us because we don't usually want to waste beach time on going to restaurants. But we usually always eat out for dinner because who really wants to cook on vacation? As an added precaution, we decided that we would only be ordering takeout food to eat in our hotel room. Honestly, this gave us even more time to spend on the beach because there was no need to spend time getting all fancied up to sit in our hotel room. I don't think any of us had one complaint about that. Despite feeling nervous about traveling during a pandemic, the beach was such a breath of fresh air, both literally and figuratively. Something we all needed in order to ease our minds from constantly thinking about COVID. We were hundreds of feet from anyone else and could just soak up the moments without any worries for the first time in what seemed like forever.
Vamos a la playa.
Our hotel, the 4 Points by Sheraton, Destinport Walton, had a very resort feel, with just a short walk from the beach to a couple of pools. The closest one to the beach had a little more party vibe to it with the music and entertainment guys, but the back pool was practically empty and was so peaceful. We took a few minutes to wash the salts off and cool down before heading to our room for the night. Day 2's forecast wasn't great, but we were going to take advantage of as much beach time as possible before the rain came in, since sitting in a hotel room was a little too reminiscent of what we had been doing for weeks. The talk of rain kept the beaches even more clear than the day before, and it seemed like we were miles from anyone else. Turns out the rain decided to never show up, and we had another perfectly beautiful day on the beach. There's something quite magical about a day that's supposed to be a dud that ends up being sunny. It's easy to see where the Emerald Coast got its name when you see it on a day like today. One of my absolute favorite things to do at the beach is to look for shells and treasures as we wander up and down the coast. Being able to share some of our favorite things with Gemma is one of our biggest motivators to keep traveling with a kid, even when it's challenging.
I don't know, how could I know what lies ahead of me? Am I part of a grander master plan? Will I be washed away like lines in the sand? Some people that put their faith into someone who's half their age, reading from a torn out page from a book filled with lies, but I don't know what to do.
We got a little surprise in the middle of the day from an ice cream boy who was working super hard pulling his dinghy full of ice cream up and down the beach.
It's melting! What? It's melting! Some people are worth melting for. Eat it! Eat it! Eat it! Eat it!
Oh gosh, it's falling! Oh, the best part is falling!
Eat it! Are you done?
Lines in the sand.
Rudy and I did end up leaving the beach early the second day for a little kid-free time and a first time for me. There's only about one thing that could pull me off of the beach. Rudy and I have decided to take a day and take our first sailing lesson. So we are at a marina in Niceville, and we're both feeling a little bit nervous. I guess this will be a good time to mention that I have thrown up during surfing lessons in Hawaii and while learning to scuba dive in Mexico. So I don't have a good history. I have these sweet sea rands on, but they're kid size, so I'm not sure if they're going to work for me or not, but we'll try an update after we get finished. I did end up getting a little sick, but I never threw up, so I'm considering it a win. We had a beautiful afternoon on the water with Captain Michael of MidBay Sailing. Their booking information is linked down below if you're ever in the area.
It's been so long since I had time.
One of the great things about being in Destin is that there are a few Air Force bases nearby, so you're constantly getting an air show on the beach. We made one last stop at the Air Force Museum before heading out of town. Even though the museum was closed due to COVID, we were able to get out and stretch our legs one last time before the 6-hour trip home. In an attempt to minimize our exposure, we tried to combine bathroom and food stops, which landed us in our first restaurant since March, a McDonald's in Greenville, Alabama. It was our first time seeing signage about complying with social distancing and the first disappointment of many with the play place being closed.
Why can't you play in the play place?
Because it's coronavirus.
Pick that up. Don't put him on the ground.
Despite our anxiety surrounding traveling in a pandemic, we were able to overcome our fears and have a beautiful few days socially distanced by the sea.
If you want to watch more of our videos, just subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Is that a good one?
Uh-huh.